Live from their home studios, please welcome the hosts of DevCentral Connects, John Wagnon and Jason Rahm.
Well, hey there, DevCentral community. I'm John, this is Jason, and this is another episode of DevCentral Connects, our live stream where we connect with all of you, the community, all over the world. Man, this is an exciting time, and we want you to interact with us. You can post comments or questions or all that. We're streaming to YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter and all the places, right? So Jason, it's good to see you, my friend. How's it going today?
Thank you. It's going quite well. In fact, there's a few shows ago, I had to bow out last minute, and we had a special guest because I had construction going on, and just while we're in the prep, you guys heard that down the hallway, and it's still going. It's thankfully they're running out to get plumbing supplies, so I think I have a little window here where there will not be crazy noise coming from the Rahm household. Yeah.
Hey, it's always a fun, ambiance, atmosphere when it sounds like a dental workshop with cavity drilling in the background. So, hey, to each his own, right?
Yeah. Got a little shop of horrors action going on.
Yes, exactly. Awesome, man. Well, hey, so just to kind of kick things off today, it's going to be a great show. And we always like to say, hey, why should you watch this show today? And the answer is we're going to talk about all things NGINX. NGINX, for those of you who don't know, just finished up their Sprint conference. It was virtual and it was amazing, and there was lots of great content, lots of great features that they highlighted. And we have some of the NGINX experts on with us today to recap what that show or what that conference was all about. So we're going to talk about kind of an overview of the conference, but then also some of the technical details of some of the releases of NGINX Unit and other things. So it's going to be a great time. So Jason, what do you think, man? Should we get this party started?
I think we should. And in fact, I learned a new term in the intro when Lindsay Shaw was introducing everything on the first day. It's it's not an NGINX expert, it's an engine expert. And so you just match those together. It's that flows so well. But absolutely. So let's kick this off. Zubin, how you doing today? This is Zubin Tavar, our VP. Thank you for joining us. We're super excited to talk to you.
Yep.
Thank you for having me. I'm super happy to be here.
So, we're going to get into some NGINX Unit stuff in a little bit, but what transpired? What were the key moments for you coming out of Sprint 2.0?
Sprint is our annual event where we connect with customers and our community. And for us, this year was really special. We had keynotes from Gus and Rob, talking about the vision and future of NGINX. But we also had really good, conversations with NGINX customers. We had Sebastian from Audi, who gave us a glimpse into their modernization journey and their challenges when it came to implementing Kubernetes and thinking about security with NGINX App Protect. We also heard from BlackRock, who gave us a glimpse about their modernization journey and moving a legacy financial application to be running in containers using API gateways. I think what was really exciting for me personally was the announcement with Google and the fact that we will be participating a lot more in the Kubernetes Ingress project, as well as contributing to the Gateway API in Kubernetes.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And one of the things that Rob was talking about that, as a fanboy of open source, one of the things that NGINX is doubling down on is the commitment to the open source community. It's not, and I guess, to be transparent about that, there was a lot of consternation amongst the NGINX community when F5 acquired NGINX. It's oh great, there goes all my NGINX, or there goes all my open source. The reality, though, is we're doubling down on the commitment to the open source community, and that was really great to hear. Not just that that the commitment is there in word, but there's action behind that as well. And so I really appreciate what Rob had to say from that perspective.
Absolutely. So in the past, NGINX open source as a project has always been a project where we accepted code contributions, but because of the complexity and wide distribution of NGINX, we had to be super careful about how we did that and what we introduced into the code base. I think going forward, now that we have the resources and the ability, with the help of F5, to be able to take this to the next level, it's easier for us to think about open source holistically and think about how we can accept more contributions from the community, as well as how we can actually put more people, time, and effort towards our open source projects.
Yeah, that's fantastic to know. And like Jason said, so any kind of issues or fears or anxiety that others would have had, like, hey, is F5 gonna derail the open source thing? That's not true. So I really appreciate you sharing that. So maybe Zubin, maybe one other thing, if someone had not or did not have a chance to go to the Sprint conference, which, by the way, how dare you if you didn't, right? But that may have happened. There may be a couple people out there. So is there a way to watch this again, or what's the best way to kind of connect with the content there? Or is there such a thing?
There absolutely is. So we had over 5,000 plus people, attend Sprint this week. But for folks who have not attended, or even for the folks who did attend but would like to watch some of that content again, it's all available on demand for the next 3 weeks. So it's all available, same place, nginx.com. You can sign up right there and get access to all the content on demand and watch it. You can watch it at your own pace.
Yeah, for certain, that's a great thing, because the demos, they obviously, you don't want to be in all day, so the demos go pretty fast. So if you're already not super experienced with NGINX and Unit and App Protect and all those services, being able to go back and watch it and slow it down to follow along is great. So I'm thankful that the on-demand is there, so I can go back, and there was some container stuff within the NGINX Unit that I'm excited about with some of my personal projects. And so I'm looking forward to going back and rewatching that content.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
a lot of exciting things. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Go ahead.
And any parting thoughts for the DevCentral community? I know it's like communities between traditional F5 users, more the NetOps and sysadmins of the world, haven't really crossed over a whole lot yet between the people who use NGINX and the people who use traditional F5 products. So any message for like the NetOps community and the sysadmins out there, and the benefits of looking at the full palette of solutions rather than one or the other?
Absolutely. Wherever you are on your modernization journey, or in how you look at your applications, you can always go try out a few of these open source tools and platforms, right? So try out NGINX Unit, try out the modern application reference architecture that Elijah will be talking about in a little bit. It's free, it's open source, it uses open source tools, and if nothing else, you'll just learn about a different way to solve for certain application challenges. If you do watch the content on NGINX Sprint, the demos are super helpful in just being able to think about how to solve for certain use cases that are fairly common. So I'm hoping you'll enjoy all that content, and please go try out some of the open source tools that are available.
Yeah, you heard Zubin. People, get out there, register, watch the demos, and get your hands on the open source stuff. Play with it. take it to bed at night with you, to snuggle up with it and sleep and dream it. It's great stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Zubin, so much for joining us. And we look forward to talking to you again someday soon, hopefully. Thanks for joining us today. And next we have with us a couple guys who are going to talk about some of the features that are new in the newer part of the NGINX line. NGINX traditional OSS and Plus has been around for a while. NGINX Unit is a relatively new product. I think it was 2017 was the first release of NGINX Unit. And so rather than like traditional web server and reverse proxy, this is an application server. So it allows, people like me who build Python apps to use Unit and deploy it along with that and manage it. And since they just added the ASGI functionality for asynchronous, I can use Python's Fast API platform on it as well now. And so anyway, without further ado, let's bring Elijah and Timo on.
Yep. Yep. Awesome, man. These are a couple of NGINX experts. NGINX experts. That's right. Hey,
that's
and
a
just a
quick.
That's right. That's awesome. Just a quick administrative word. Timo is I think having a bit of a internet connection thing, so he may be in and out, or maybe more out than in. So anyway, but Elijah is here. Elijah, welcome to DevCentral Connects. It's great to have you, my friend.
Thanks for having me here. So
Awesome.
I hope everyone gets to check out our presentation. We've recorded it on Unit. There's a lot of content there.
Right. Yeah, that's great. Well, people can follow Jason's advice a second ago. And, as you lay your head down at night to go to bed, you can just let that, just wash over your thoughts, and you can dream about it.
Like a good cup of coffee, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool. You mentioned the fast API interface. And a lot of people, when they hear application server, instantly Tomcat or WebLogic come to mind. But Unit is, you can have an application server for Java, for Python, PHP, JavaScript, Perl, Go, and even assembly that is running application, all of those different applications and different platforms together in a single deployment unit. And I think that's one of the really cool things about the app. And you'll see that kind of come out in the presentation we do. I don't know. Jason, have you tried running multiple languages with Unit yet?
I have. I've done one I wanted to build the same app across and then have it display when it sends back the content which one, because I'd load balanced to all of them. And so I wanted to say which language is actually responding to me. And so I've done a demo one with Python and PHP.
No shame here.
No. I know a lot of the internet uses it. I'm ashamed when I pull up PHP, just because I'm so, I don't know. I'm just not too much of a personal fan of PHP, but I know a lot of the internet runs on PHP. So for those of you who love the language, more power to you. Not a personal fan, but because I had some background at least to be able to spin up simple apps, that's the one I chose, because I'm not very well versed in Go. I've done some embedded Java with robotics, but not from a web perspective. So yeah, it was Python and PHP for me.
So one of the cool things we did in the most recent changes to Unit was that previously, if you were running JavaScript apps, Node apps in particular, in Unit, you needed to actually change the libraries you import in order to integrate it with Unit to run. But now that's no longer necessary. Unit does that mapping behind the scenes, which makes running those apps a lot more seamless. Another one of the big changes that went out was SNI support. And this allows multiple URLs to easily map within Unit with TLS support. So definitely check out those features. I hope we can drop the URL for the latest for the blog that maps those features out for everybody?
Yeah. Elijah, it should be in the
it's in there in
chat,
YouTube chat now.
Great.
Yep.
in the YouTube chat. So all you viewers, go check out the YouTube chat. And it's right there. It's a blog post. The updates for summer 2021 now available for NGINX Unit. Hey, and Elijah, I was going to ask you too. Not only is it, can NGINX Unit handle the different languages like PHP for JSON, but it can also handle different versions. Is that true? Maybe talk about that.
That's right. So each language or platform you can run in isolation from each other. Recently, we added CH root support. It supports C groups and namespace level isolation. So you could run, PHP 7 and I believe even 6, multiple versions of Node, multiple versions of Perl and Python, all with a layer of separation from each other. And deployment, redeployment, undeployment, all defined over an HTTP API. Or I should say a RESTful HTTP API.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
Elijah,
really cool.
That's powerful. Yeah,
it's super powerful because as John, you and I have talked about like doing a series that's different from DevCentral Connects, but like actually going through the process of building web applications. But being able to support different languages is awesome. But the version side is good too because like following the version journey with Python, there's quite a bit of difference between 2.7 that like went end of life at the beginning of was it 2020 or 2021? The years are coming together for me. Maybe it was at the beginning of this year. But anyway, when 2.7 went out, that was really all I knew. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I got to get on board with this 3X version. But even that, it's like the packages that are supported on versions, like they're trying to keep up with the latest and greatest and getting rid of the old and in with the new. So if you're building applications, you really got to keep up with that. But as new versions come, some features get end of life, and doing your testing to make sure everything's good to go. It's kind of nice that you can do that testing in the same framework, get it up and make sure all that works and works well. And so you can kind of support both in prod side by side, even on the same platform to test, hey, am I getting errors on one versus the other? Performance testing, all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, so, this makes me think of one of the other really powerful things about Unit that I love. People talk about microservices and the microservice journey. There's some organizations that have taken this to the extreme. I don't know if anybody's read the blog post about MD5 as a service. Like some company actually just made checksumming its own service. Well, if you went to the extreme with your microservices, Unit gives you a nice opportunity to start to bring them back in to a manageable deployment unit, right? So if you had you have total service sprawl and you want to start to consolidate them in a single deployment unit, Unit is a great fit for when you're doing that type of refactoring. You can now go run 5 or 6 services all as a single unit you deploy, when before they were all had network boundaries and were a management headache.
Yeah, and that's awesome. And I wanted to go back to the TLS thing for a second. With the SNI support, how integrated is Let's Encrypt into the system? Like I was watching your guys' session. Was it yesterday? Yesterday's session. And I got distracted for a few minutes and then it was gone. So I haven't gone back to be able to look at it yet. But I saw a note that you guys were using some Let's Encrypt certificates in there. So is the Acme Challenge part of that integrated as well? So it's like you just put what your domains and subdomains or whatever are, and the Acme challenges are sent out, and that stuff's auto updating with your API calls.
So yeah, you can configure Unit now to be fully Let's Encrypt or CertBot compliant, and you can do those Acme challenges right there in Unit. There's an example, a full example, out on the Unit site that you can go and reference that'll just get you started. You read that and you'll know how to set it up. You can also hook up with certbox hooks to redeploy the certs when they expire and have that. And then you can hook that up with cron on your system and then have just seamless working Let's Encrypt with Unit, just the way it should be.
That's
Beautiful.
amazing, because I mean that simplifies the process so significantly. That's amazing. I look forward to testing that.
Mm-hmm. Elijah, it kind of occurs to me, Jason just said, it simplifies the process or simplifies the whole, experience. And it's interesting to me that like Unit, while it is a complex, very powerful application server, it sounds like the heart of it is that it is simplifying life for a lot of things, so it's you can run multiple languages, multiple versions, so you can do some really complex stuff, but at the heart, it is making life a little simpler. So that's a nice thing to have, right? So anyway, and then one other thing I was going to mention is there was a Node.js override. I wondered if you could kind of speak to that for maybe a quick second.
Yeah, so that's what I was mentioning before, that now when you want to integrate with Unit, you don't need to change your Node code and import a different library for HTTP sockets. Now,
Gotcha.
Unit will do that behind the scenes for you. And so you can just deploy Node apps as they are without changes.
I love it.
Well,
Again, another simplifying. Yeah. Go ahead, Jason.
Sorry, John. I didn't mean to talk over you, but I'm gonna. And I saw too that there's some enhancements in the static file support. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I believe now there's more flexibility with how you define routes to static files than you did previously. But previously, it was a bit cumbersome to get the logic just right for things like WordPress, for different static file directories and so on. Now that whole process has been improved.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that out. I mean, I didn't feel like it was too hard, because like for my JS and CSS files and any of my images for my Flask apps before the Fast API stuff, I didn't really think it was that challenging to do that. But it was nice to put that aside so that the web server part of Unit doesn't have to pass that off the back end app processes to be able to handle. So I'll look forward to checking that out as well.
Awesome. So I wanted to kind of piggyback on the simplicity part you brought up. Sometimes, for relatively simple application stacks, you really don't want to go to the complexity of a full Kubernetes deployment, or even something like, say, Docker Compose. You just want to spin up a VM and put in all your apps right there and then scale that VM to n number. Well, Unit fits in that model really, really well. If you want to scale a single conceptual box in your box and arrow diagram, you can put 5 apps of different languages, have them talk to each other as services within this single unit, and then scale that whole thing behind a single load balancer. And it is a super simple application architecture when you think of it in that mindset. And to me, that's a big appeal of Unit.
That's always a big appeal to me with anything, the super simple. I like to think of it as not just simple, but elegant. I like the word elegant,
I like that too.
And to me, when I approach, frankly, anything, and I look at it and it's like, man, this just makes sense. It's not too complicated. It just works. Then I appreciate all of the work, the hard effort and complexity that went into building this to make it simple for me, right? And so great job to all of you, all the NGINX experts who did the heavy lifting make that happen. Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, simplicity is an interesting thing though, because I look at the provisioning aspect of provisioning 16, different devices that I load balance in front of versus, a Docker file that is pretty simple, and then I just click go and it's done. And so I guess simplicity means different things to different people, and that's also evolution of your skills too, right? Because the first time you look at something like a Docker file, well, that doesn't seem so simple. It looks like a lot of complexity. But as you learn that and adopt that, then that is no longer a complex thing. And then other things start to look complex, like going beyond a single container out into looking at scaling with Kubernetes and all that. And so, I think simplicity is one of those things where the goalposts move on what simple is.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep. Well, hey, so Elijah, we've just got a couple minutes here. I think as we look at NGINX Unit and the overall Sprint conference, I wondered if you had just kind of a final word on what you would recommend people look at or kind of start with or play with, or maybe even from the conference, if someone just had a few minutes, what's something that they probably should go check out?
Yeah. So one with Unit, I recommend everyone go and look at the blog post I wrote about automating the installation of WordPress with Unit. We get kind of deep into productionizing a Unit deployment in conjunction with NGINX running WordPress, and really look at all the bells and whistles of what a non-toy deployment looks like. Definitely check out that blog. Definitely go give Unit a spin. Try to take applications you're already running and run them in Unit. See what it looks like. And then it's open source. Come hit us up on Twitter. Let us know how you're using it. Let us know if you're having problems. We really want to make this the next generation of application server technology.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And hey, that blog post is a quick word. We dropped that in the chat for YouTube and also the Twitter world. So so people can just click on that and link right to it. Perfect.
Yeah, I'll say, as we close out here in a little bit, the level of detail in some of the demos that you guys do and the articles that you write, I appreciate, because you mentioned the toy configurations, and I feel that's where a lot of tutorials go south. Is like you can find 8,000 different versions of the same Hello World program, but nobody deploys to production like that. And so It's like I need to see something that gets me a little bit further down the road than just Hello World. And you guys do a fantastic job of that. So, kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I like to call it the coal face of software development. You're just out there alone, cold, and working. And it's like, no one looks at, this demo. What does it look like utilized at 100%? What does it look like with noisy neighbors? Once you start to run these distributed applications in production at a high level of scale and a high level of utilization, a lot of these easy things where people just say, just fall down.
Right.
Yep. So a bit of real world mixed in there, because we all have the noisy neighbor, right, Elijah? That's part of life. It's crazy. So we need to demo that too. Good.
Not only the noisy neighbors, but the nosy neighbors too.
So.
Security. Can't forget.
That's right.
Stop it, Jason. You're on a roll, man. Like butter. You're on a roll. I love it.
Like butter.
I love it. I love it.
Well, Elijah, thank you so much for joining us. Great conference, and look forward to catching you on the replay as well, because I want to catch up with what you guys did. And so thank you for that. Thank you for joining us, and you have a fantastic day.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Awesome. A lot of fun, man. What engine experts out there just making the world a better place, making the magic happen. What a great time. So
that's right.
Good stuff. Well, so Jason, we got a couple of shows coming up. Is that right?
We do. Yeah. I'm right back here next week. We've had a couple weeks straight of DevCentral Connects, but next week you want answers, and we're going to go a little Shakespearean, to rule or not to I rule. That is the question. And so, I'll have a little bit of follow-up from last week's challenge, but also going to get into a Stack Overflow question that somebody had asked. It's like, iRules are awesome. iRules are powerful. But, that's not always the best choice. And so we're going to get into that a little bit next week.
Okay. Yeah. It's not always the answer, like you said. Awesome, man. Right. And then after that, what do we have coming up next? I think we're going to head to space. Is that right?
We are going to space. Yes. With Bill Dunford is going to join us from NASA's JPL. And that's going to be awesome. It's like, I've got a little toddler. It's like, I loved space when I was a kid, wanted to be, like Space Camp came out, with little Joaquin Phoenix and Tate Donovan and her name escapes me, but Howard the Duck Girl. And it's like everybody wants to be an astronaut, and then Iron Eagle came out. Oh no, I want to be an F-16 pilot. But I love space, and I have a little toddler now who loves all things space. He's like, he knows more about the space shuttle now than I do, and so I'm excited to talk to Bill next week, or on the September 9th rather. That's going to be a good time. And then after that, on the 16th,
I have the security sidebar, digital as default. I'm going to have the one and only Lori McVitie is going to join. That's going to be an amazing conversation. So what are some of the security implications or security concerns around digital as default? So make sure you join that one.
That is never a dry conversation when you get to talk to Miss Lori McVitie. That's right. It's going to be amazing. So all that. And then finally, and then following, it's like times they are changing, and that's for that's true across the board, but also for DevCentral. Something new, something's amiss, and so little teaser out there for everyone that there are some changes.
What? Yeah,
you almost had that Lucy look there, the Lucille ball.
That's right.
Yeah. Right. So we have new things coming in September, and so we look forward to teasing that out a little bit as September goes on. So anyway, make sure you hit subscribe to get more content like this. Hopefully this show was enjoyable and helpful to you. Click like if you loved it. Thumbs down if you thought we could have done a better job. And anyway, we are over time, but we are so thankful that you joined us. And we'll see you out there in the community, everyone. Thank you very much.
Have a great week.